Patriots, if you look around and see our country crumbling, if you feel that morality is lost and our timeless values are being replaced with appeasement and political correctness, if you are angered by the arrogance of our political leaders in both parties, and you know deep down that a nation that turns against God cannot continue to reap the blessings we have been given for over 100 years, this message is for you. For too long, this silent majority has laid quiet. The threat of Islamic terror on our shores is rising, but some in Washington think it is a good idea to strip the gun rights of Americans willing to shed their own blood to protect their families and communities. The media continue to cover the Oscars controversy, claiming systemic racism in liberal Hollywood. But when more pressing issues like gang violence and innocent black lives dying in Chicago run rampant, not one news story can be found. When the butchering and harvesting of a child's life is uncovered by a corrupt and sinister organization taking in more than $500 million in taxpayer money, our money, every year, the people who helped expose this tragedy are targeted and held as criminals. Speaking of criminalizing an American baker for exercising his First Amendment rights, while discussing blanket amnesty for hundreds of thousands who knowingly violated our sovereign laws, reeks of corruption. While we are distracted by a president who makes a national issue of the false premise of police brutality, hundreds of politicians line their pockets and continue to enslave the American people in debt. Waiting every June to hear what 9 men and women on the Supreme Court have to say about the freedoms of our nation would turn our founders over in their graves. A debate on whether boys should be able to use the girls' restroom at school when thousands of our veterans sit homeless and cold, starving and dying, waiting on medical care we have promised to them is absurd. Forcing a community to remove a nativity scene at Christmas or a cross to honor our fallen because a handful of atheists are offended and cry out, separation of church and state has gone far enough. It is time to take our country back. In 1776, brave men and women stood up against the most powerful empire this world had ever seen to challenge its tyrannical rule over the people in America. The time has come to fight another powerful empire. Courageous men and women, I am calling on you to join